difference between, modern knowledge versus traditional knowledge?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, when we talk about traditional knowledge, I can tell you what I mean by it. What I mean by traditional knowledge is that which is passed on, in which there is a sacred that is recognized. The first thing in any concept of the word tradition is the word sacred. Something sacred is recognized and agreed upon and guarded. Okay? Then it's passed down. It's passed down. And the passing down of the baton, right, is as sacred as the baton itself. The way it's passed down, to whom it's passed down, the whole process. Where if we say modern, we're going to remove the word sacred, right? And we're going to replace it with the word mundane or secular. Okay. So modern knowledge looks at these sacred traditions. So if you're going to study Islam, Judaism, Christianity at a university, you are basically taking a dead corpse and dissecting it. That's what it is. It's treated like a dead corpse. Whereas, if we're saying traditional Islamic knowledge, Islam is, let's say, personified by a baton, and it is a golden baton that is handed down from one teacher to his student. He has to check his student first. I've never had a teacher who has never advised me of taqwa. I've never had a teacher who never asked me how my prayers were. They always ask, are you at Fajr? Are you doing Fajr? Are you Fajr in the masjid? You doing these things? Okay. I've never had them not advise me if they see a mistake happening, right? So they are checking. It's like having you could say pure milk. You need to make sure the cup that you're pouring it into is pure. And the process of the transmission, how it's transmitted, is as valuable as the thing itself. This is what we mean when we're talking about traditional knowledge. The subject matter is sacred. We all agree upon that. The guardian, which is the scholar of that sanctity, he himself is viewed differently than any other people. Allah tells us, هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, are the ones who know, are they equivalent to the ones who don't know? So that person who has, Allah has entrusted him with keeping this knowledge sacred, okay, and guarding it, and spending his whole life reviewing it and studying it, and make sure he's understanding, make sure he's a sound vessel for it. He himself is a sign of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is why in traditional circles we love our sheikhs, right? We love them. We don't go astray in our love for sheikhs, like some, probably in this day and age it's a minority, but you do have groups out there who go astray in their love of a sheikh. We're not going astray in our love of a sheikh, right? In America, I don't think that really exists very much, but maybe it does. But our sheikh is not just a professor. You know, he's not a professor. You're going to sit in his class with your PJs on and your feet in front of him. And whatever he says is just a guy who read a little bit more than you. That's what a professor is. He's a guy no different than you, right? In his moral and ethical character. He just read a little bit more than you, right? That's all he is. A sheikh is not. A sheikh is someone who is guarding himself because he is a vessel of this knowledge. He has to be an upright example. And I myself, every day, I look at myself and check myself, because even though I'm just a student, but I'm still passing knowledge on, and every day I look at myself, is this the behavior of someone? And you got to fix yourself, and you make mistakes. And the mistake, it's an embarrassment to make. I'm not saying mistake in knowledge, I'm saying mistakes in akhlaq, right? I've made mistakes with people, right? Been harsh with people. But I go back to myself and say, look, this is not a university class, no one cares. No. People look at your akhlaq, right? People look at your character. People look at your prayer in the masjid. People look at your behavior. So teaching this knowledge, if you become a teacher in any way, shape, or form, right, in the traditional pietistic setting, you are the first person who's going to improve, because every day you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, is this the behavior of someone who's passing on the hadith of Rasulullah? Is this the behavior of someone who's teaching people fiqh and spirituality and tasawwuf and ulum al-Quran and tafsir? It's a contradiction. So this is the meaning of when we say traditional knowledge versus secular knowledge.